Welcome to Functionally Speaking, the podcast where two clinicians share one brain cell and way too many opinions.
I'm Laura, your mineral-obsessed dietitian who gets fired up about gut health, metabolism, and fertility, with enough sass to keep it interesting and enough nuance to keep it real.
And I'm Danielle, a physician assistant obsessed with gut health, hormones, and calling out bullshit.
We're here for the nuance, the hot takes, the facts your certification skipped over, and the occasional spiral into chaos.
If you're a health coach, practitioner, or clinician who's slightly functional, just like our mitochondria in our recording process, you're in the right place.
We're not here to sugarcoat the science or pretend there's one right way to do this work. We're doing it our way, unfiltered, slightly feral, and always with love for the humans we serve. Let's get into it.
All right, welcome back to Functionally Speaking, the clinical pod that spirals responsibly. As always, this episode is sponsored by Unconventional Collaborative, an interdisciplinary virtual mastermind for coaches, practitioners, and trainers to elevate their practice. So if you are a self-proclaimed nerd, visit us at unconventionalcollaborative.com to learn more about joining. Laura's always really impressed that I do that.
Listen, my brain cell is not brain celling most days. So.
I am too, though, because right before we push record, she was like, I'm singing Wheels on the Bus. So
that's the only thing going through my brain right now. So
oh my God.
But we could talk about cycle syncing because we should ranting on that for days.
I know. You know what I want to say real quick that I'm really impressed with, that we've been keeping these episodes to like a relatively tame number, and we're not like going for 90 minutes and being like, oops, no time for anything else.
And we totally could. Totally could.
We're
like the queens of tangents.
But the whole purpose of this is really to give you guys like really quick hitting information. Like if you want to know more about Laura and I, go hang out with us on social media, or we have, I don't know, like 5, 6, 7 podcasts on my podcast recorded just with us like shooting the shit. So if you were like, who are these humans? If you don't know us, Strong and Unfiltered, search for Laura Lygos' name, Ligos, or The Sassy Dietitian, either one, and she will pop up if you want to know more about the humans behind this. So let's go. I actually should have looked up a definition of this. Did you look up a definition by any chance?
No, but I think we can give you the grand gist of it.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say it's, syncing other aspects of your life to where you are with your menstrual cycle, like your nutrition, your exercise, sleep, work. I've even heard of people like syncing their work schedules to it.
Too much. Like, don't we have enough things to think about? Like, I understand from like a holistic standpoint of listening to your body and understanding what your body needs. Like, I do think that there's a big part of us that we've lost that. But like, I also think if we're so focused on like, oh no, I ovulated yesterday, I'm in my luteal phase today, I must do this. Like that stress is just another stressor, like what are we doing?
For me, gun to my head, this is a nay for me. This is a no, dog. And the reason why is because I commented on Dr. Tina Moore's post the other day. She was talking about like GLP-1s and things, but I said people are stepping over the basics to go straight into biohacking. And I think that
word.
And I know that this isn't like red light or cold plunging or whatever, but I still feel like it's in that like stepping over dollar bills to pick up pennies category where like women still want to be able to skip breakfast and be in this massive calorie deficit, but they're like, but I'm eating flax seeds at the right time. And it's like, girl, no. This is I feel like I'm back in my sorority days when you do that.
I'm just co-signing it all. Let's go.
So for me, I have always said like I am really pro like self-adaptation and awareness and analysis of like what's going on in one's bodies. And I feel like this is almost another disconnect for women to be like, it's almost like abusing fitness trackers or abusing tracking your cycle where it's like, okay, well, I feel like shit today and I'm in my ovulatory phase, so I have to go do HIIT. And it's like, well, but you feel like doo-doo.
Right. And the same thing applies to the flip side of like, how many times have you been on your period and like felt like I could lift a whole house? It's nothing to say. And that's like, let's give them some examples too of like what cycle syncing is. Like when a client comes to you and is like, I have been told it's a cycle sync, or I saw it on TikTok, or I saw it on Instagram. And like an example is exercise. Is menstrual cycle, you have to do gentle movement only. Follicular phase is like increase the intensity as you start getting more energy in your cycle. So running, HIIT, cycling, etc. Ovulatory phase is more of the same as like HIIT high intensity. Then you hit luteal phase, and all of a sudden you're supposed to moderate your activities and do swimming and yoga and light movement and low intensity. And just like Danielle was saying, it's like, okay, but now you're literally overriding your body's innate wisdom to be able to tell you like how it feels. And like you said, like so many people are already so disconnected from their body. They don't even know when they're hungry and full. And so now all of a sudden, like we're just overriding that and saying, oh, yep, it's day, whatever, day 21. And you were going to go to a CrossFit class. You're feeling great. Going to go hang out with friends, but you can't do that.
Because it's cycle day 21. It sounds so stupid. I was so shocked when this took off in like the holistic and wellness community. I was like, no, people are not falling for this. Like this is
It was big for a time.
Dude, it was.
Like
and
back,
I have seen it like popping back, and I'm just like, this is still a no for me, dog. Like I have a friend who just ran a marathon and PR'd at 3 hours and 21 minutes on cycle day 1.
Yeah. I mean,
like you can't control race day. You can't control things like that. And my biggest beef, I think, with the exercise portion, I think I feel like most comfortably speaking about that is like, you're never going to gain muscle and put muscle on your body because you can't take 2 weeks off and do that. Like you can't be like, oh, I'm going to lift weights like 2 weeks out of the month. And see, it would be like, you know, if you wanted to learn a new language or play the guitar and you just like,
Sorry, I'm luteal.
Yeah.
Can't play the guitar now. Yeah, it makes no sense. I actually, when I worked for a company, I worked with CrossFit athletes and one was an elite athlete. And she asked me if she should go on birth control so that she wouldn't have her period during the event. And I said, you're missing the whole point. The whole point is like, why do you feel like shit during your menstrual cycle, right?
Yes.
It's not that you need to turn it off. It's that she wasn't eating enough. She wasn't recovering enough. She was overtraining, right? I think for some people, it's this like form of control to be like, oh, well, if I do this, right, then I'm honoring my body. And it's like, no, like you said, we have to do all the foundational things that take more time. And also listening to our body, which can feel scary, right? Can feel scary if you spent so much time out of your body. And so I think this is giving people a way to not trust their body and not lean into it. And it does suck for things like race days and for competitors.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget who said this, but it's stuck with me. It's like the extreme results require extreme measures to get there.
I've heard that too.
It's not saying that that is necessarily healthy, right? Like your most optimal fitness may not be your most optimal health.
Mm-hmm.
And it's understanding that as well. And being like, we also can't, like, if you are someone who's a competitive athlete and you're going for a PR in a marathon or whatever, like you're going to have to override some of the systems because like extreme measures are required for extreme results, but the average person should not. And so if you're feeling tired in your follicular phase, because I don't know, you've had high work demands or kids kept you up all night, your dogs kept you up all night, like whatever it is, and now you're exhausted and you're supposed to go hit a high intensity workout and you're
girls sit down.
Yeah, like there's nothing to say you can't take a rest day, and then maybe your luteal phase, you'll have a day where you slept good because your progesterone was high and like, you know, your work wasn't as stressful. Your kids actually slept through the night. Like it's just so silly to me and just seems like another thing for people to stress about when like stress is the problem for so many people.
I know. And for part of the seed cycling, I think is the other like big component of this. And we're not saying that like flaxseed and pumpkin seed and sesame seed and what's the other one? Sunflower seeds. We're not saying that these are like not great and they have like a lot of vitamins and minerals that really do support menstrual cycle. But the idea of like,
I was reading an article before we hopped on, and the article said, for follicular phase, take day 1 through 14. The luteal phase, take day 14 to 28.
So we're like reinventing the birth control wheel of like the 28-day cycle.
If you don't have a 28-day cycle, that's okay. Stick to day 1 through 14 and 14 to 28 to get on that cycle. And I was like, that's not how any of this works.
No.
And so once again, I think anytime something is brought up, diet culture and whatever basically takes hold of it and spirals with it. I actually just had a client ask about this morning, which is funny because I was like, wait, haven't we already talked about seeds? Like, isn't this something in the past? But I guess
it's resurging. It's definitely resurging.
It's basically in your follicular phase, 1 to 2 tablespoons each of ground flax and ground pumpkin, which is supposed to support your estrogen. And luteal phase is 1 to 2 tablespoons each of ground sesame seeds and ground sunflower seeds, which is supposed to help your progesterone. And it's like, it's not like you take something and say, okay, you need to target this in the body. Right? It's not that.
It's like thinking you can spot reduce like when you lose weight. It's the same thing. Like
oh my God,
these sunflower seeds are going to my ovaries. Like no,
that's not how any of this works. But I think for most people, it's like, okay, it's kind of like a multivitamin, right? If someone is deficient in something, they will see benefits purely because they
Correct.
were deficient or
Correct.
insufficient in something. And so the way I see the seeds working is like, pumpkin seeds are high in zinc, flax seeds have omegas. Like, if we think about that, okay, were you already deficient or taking in insufficient amount? Or fiber is another part of these. So like, if you were already insufficient in those, is that actually what we're seeing? And if that's the case, then let's just incorporate more seeds into our diet because seeds are higher in protein and fiber than nuts are. And a lot of
Yeah.
people are usually typically
Yes.
eat more nuts than seeds. And so is that what we're seeing? Okay, great. Put flax in your oatmeal, put pumpkin seeds in your salad, put sesame seeds or tahini in a hummus, like sunflower seeds in a salad or mix them in a smoothie. Like there's so many ways you could just incorporate these naturally without it being, once again, another stressor to be like, oh my God, it's day 14 and I forgot that I needed my tablespoon of flax seeds and now you're downing them at like 9 o'clock at night, right? Like, what are we doing? Some people might say, but it worked for my PCOS. Did it work because you added seeds that helped with the blood sugar response? Did you add seeds and it helped with the inflammatory response? We're not trying to invalidate what you're feeling. It's more just say, or what your clients are saying, whoever's listening to this, like, it's not to invalidate it. It's just to say, like, we don't need to be that specific. Like, let's just add these in. They are healthy foods and then like move on with your life.
The end. Like,
It doesn't need to be that stressful, is I think our whole point here. It doesn't need to be this new. Like, I think we both focus so much on nuance, but this is a nuance that it's not helpful because it's not actually nuanced to the individual. It's nuanced for the sake of control.
Yeah. To me, this is just another, like I said at the beginning, like this is just another form of like disassociating with the body, especially with how they're like, oh, well, don't worry if you don't have a 28. So many women don't have a 28-day cycle and don't ovulate on day 14. And if they ovulate on day 14, don't, sometimes they'll ovulate on day 16 or day 18 because they traveled or stress or this or that, like whatever.
And then if you think about it, so I was reading this and I was like, this has to be a joke, right? But like, if you actually understood math and numbers, you'd understand that like, okay, if you did that, and someone had a 26 or a 32-day cycle, all of a sudden you're going to be eating the luteal phase, quote unquote, seeds in the follicular phase and the follicular seeds, quote unquote, in the luteal. Like this doesn't work. Like the math is not math.
No.
The body is not that. Like, I think everyone wants there to be like a quick, and this is kind of what I was talking to my client with. I'm like, does it feel like it's like a quick fix for your cycle? And she's like, well, yeah. And I was like, right. I think we all hold on to that of like, I just did this one thing, but it's not just this one thing. It's a bigger picture. And like, there are plenty of people out there who have normal menstrual cycles, healthy menstrual cycles at 26 or 32 days. So
100%. Yeah. So I think some takeaways too that people can tell their clients is like, I think the education around the menstrual cycle is the first one, right? Like not every menstrual cycle is 28 days. Not every ovulation happens at day 14. Some women will never, maybe I shouldn't say never. Cause like I typically ovulate like day 14 to 16. And I find that that's pretty typical for most of my women. So I think that that's one thing that we can educate on. I think the other thing that, like you said, with the seed cycling, like, hey, like if you continue to do this, you have a 30-day cycle, like they're going to get messed up anyway. So like, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? I love asking clients this question. Like if your best friend came to you and told you this, what would you think they were doing?
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like you'd probably be like, why?
Like, ma'am, anything that you have to add to like what clinicians, like questions they can ask their clients or tips and tricks on like how to talk to their clients about this?
I always like to ask like, and I try to do so in a loving manner, not in a judging manner. I'm just like, what made you think to ask this? Right? Like what brought this to your attention? Why does this feel significant to you? And I think that can often help lead them to the answer themselves. Right? Because if they start telling you, oh, well, like I'm having painful periods and I saw so-and-so say this on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk more about like, we just kind of start peeling back the layers.
Yeah.
And I think as a good clinician, like, and Danielle and I have talked about this, like we can't get out of a session in a short period of time without asking a ton of questions, right? Like you should be digging and digging. You shouldn't just hear someone say something and be like, okay, and move on. You should be like, oh, that's interesting, right? Like, how come? Let's talk about your luteal phase. I said, oh, and a lot of them won't use the term luteal phase. They'll say like
PMS,
right?
before
Or
my
PMS.
period. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think digging into that too, or like, They might, if someone is dealing with infertility or they've been told they have PCOS, right? Now all of a sudden they're Googling PCOS, they're Googling fertility stuff, and they're finding this. So if we can understand why this has become probably a control mechanism, right? Of like them trying to control something. And if we can understand why they're trying to control it, I think we can help them even further as opposed to just educating them on like yes or no. And then they can have more confidence of like, oh, I didn't realize that like my dietitian or my PA or whatever has been telling me that I need to drink more water. And here I am trying to focus on seed cycling, right? Yeah. Like if we can just dig deeper, I think it gives them more confidence in what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that a lot. I also think one of the things that I do with my clients, and I don't get so many people who come to me about the cycle syncing stuff, but I have a lot of people who really like to push hard on the exercising and things like that. And I really try to get people to focus back in on how they feel. So I will say, like, instead of like focusing on like what day of your cycle you were in, like maybe before you work out, like, how do I feel? Like, do I feel okay? Like, sometimes we talk about this, and Janie will always say, like, go for 10 minutes and see how you feel. And I think that's like it's really helpful. And then also, how do you feel during the exercise and how did you feel after? Because that helps you realize like, okay, like, did I actually feel really good before? Was I gaslighting myself? Did I just really want to go work out?
I tell my clients a lot to focus on the recovery. Like if you're not, it's okay to be tired within that first hour of working out. But if you all of a sudden like can't get through your day and the next day you're super sore and super tired, like you're not recovering well. And that's actually more problematic because clearly whatever you're doing is not supportive of your current phase of life, whether it's, that you're just burnout or you're postpartum or you're overtraining or whatever it might be.
And then the other thing is like asking people how they feel around food. I know I think you use this and a lot of other dietitians, like journaling around food. Like, am I hungry? What do I actually want? Maybe there's a day where you're like, flax seeds are making me want to vomit because I've been eating them so much. Like, just it's okay to not eat them.
Yes, it's okay. One day is not going to make or break.
But I think like the journaling around food and meals, and also like really taking that intake of like, how do I actually feel today with the exercise piece instead of letting a predetermined day of your cycle determine what it is that you will do for that day. It takes the auto regulation out of everything, in my opinion.
Totally. I like using body scanning a ton with my clients too.
What's that?
You can just YouTube it. It's more or less just like having a couple minutes to just focus on the whole body. So like, what's my head feeling? What are my ears feeling? What's my chest feeling? And because we're just so disconnected that like, if someone asks you how you feel, you're like, oh, I'm good, right? It's just like or I'm fine or whatever. It's just such a innate reaction. But it's like, oh, actually, now you're thinking about it. My jaw is really tense. My chest is really tight. I'm only breathing through there. Like, Danielle's like, wait, my jaw's tight. Like I have my legs crossed, right? Like my shoulders are slumped or they're hunched up, right? It's just an opportunity to kind of like scan the body and be like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that my feet were cold today or whatever. So it just gives you the opportunity to whole body, just kind of like figure out what's going on. Some people like tapping because tapping helps to like actually bring awareness to the body. Like you can have some proprioception. There's a ton of different ways to get in your body, but I think starting with how I feel, I have a lot of clients who struggle with that at first because they're not sure how they're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
And I use heavy quotations because like there is no way you're supposed to feel, right? You're you, and it's starting to learn those signs and symptoms of who you are and what your body's telling you.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like this has been good. Quick hits, things people can tell their clients. If they're not a practitioner, they got good info.
Yeah,
I feel like this was good.
I think that's all I got.
It's a no for us, dog.
It's a no.
Don't skip the basics for biohacking, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.